So we do have a question from a viewer who's concerned about the buffer bill. This viewer is concerned about whether or not there will be additional changes. Representative Torkelson is our unofficial Your Legislators expert in this area. He's not with us this evening, so one of the four of you will have to substitute. Maybe you could talk a little bit about where the buffer bill issue sits. I know there are multiple bills, but I think he's looking for some information on that. Should we start with you, Representative Torkelson?
Well, I'm not on the committees that deal with that, but what I'm hearing from farmers in my district is they did these maps back in the 70s, the Department of Natural Resources and so forth. And, you know, some farmers might have had some water on there, whatever, didn't think anything of it really at the time, but now they're still using these maps and where there hasn't been water in these areas for, you know, decades. So that's where I'm hearing probably the most as I meet with my soil and water district folks that are working with the folks. And then the other thing is about land and being compensated for lost farmland. And, you know, I was just at a meeting with Senator Franken in Moorhead with a number of farm leaders. And there's just a lot of things that are really unsettling right now in the ag industry. You know, you've got low commodity prices, you got higher property taxes, kind of the uncertainty of all the trade agreements federally going on right now. And then you add, you know, kind of these regulations and buffers, and it just really is kind of all coming in at one time. And so I'd really like to see us just kind of hold back a little bit on this, make sure we deal with the maps and everything, and make sure everything gets. It's more important that we get this thing right and work with farmers and try to set just some solid deadline that doesn't necessarily make a lot of sense. And so I don't know where we're going to go. I know some of the bills are looking at delaying and so forth, but I know Governor Dayton is, you know, is pretty set on, you know, the clean water and all those type of things, which that part is great, you know, but I think we've got to look at how we just kind of, you know, take our time, make sure we do it right, and make sure we get input from farmers.
And I think that, yeah, let's hear the input from the farmer.
We're all listening, Paul.
Yeah.
Well, my concern, again, the governor was out at the Water Summit in Morris, and one of his first sentences was he will not compromise anymore on the buffer bill. And that was concerning because I think there are a few more things that need to be cleaned up and worked on. The deadline coming up for this November is going to be difficult to reach with the concerns about new weeds coming in, Palmer amaranth, for example, and will you be disqualified from federal CRP programs once this deadline hits? That's a concern. That's a federal issue, of course. But and then the whole thing about the alternative practices, which were supposed to be out in public, they still aren't. What could a farmer do instead of putting a buffer in, for example, if he has a flat piece of ground? A buffer really isn't going to stop a lot of water or do much. Another practice would be a lot better. We haven't seen those yet. So I think there's a feeling of let's slow down, like the representative said, and do this right, get it done right, do the best we can, because we all want the clean water part of it. Do it right and look at other ways to do it. And, you know, the farmers think they kind of got pushed into this, and the compensation piece really hasn't been addressed yet. I think it's going to have to be at some point, especially those 50-foot buffers on the public waters. There's no method to pay for those, whereas on ditches, the ditch authority can pay the farmer for that land. But I think we need a few more tweaks in the bill, and I hope the governor would listen to those and make some method of compromise to work with us on that.
You know, and if you could just maybe talk about something that I thought was really interesting that I learned the other day. You know, farmland in my district is a lot different than farmland in someone else's district. My farmland is not per acre near what it is in the rich valleys. And so when we talk about compensation, maybe you can just address how much, like, per acre of land would cost, and then what you're taking out of production when you do a buffer, a 50-foot buffer.
Yeah, land prices have kind of stabilized. They have come down, I think, from their peak. But the governor's plan, he offered to pay farmers, I think, $40 an acre for 5 years, and that's a total of $200 an acre. But we're talking about taking, if you're in good productive farmland, that land is easily worth $5,000 to $6,000 an acre. And I dropped a bill that would have the state pay a comparable rent on that land. Whatever the county rental rate would be, the state would pay that rental rate to give some compensation to the farmer. But I did some figuring on an 80-acre piece of ground, which is a half a mile long, on a 50-foot buffer, both sides of that ditch, you're talking about 6.5 acres of land. So at $5,000 an acre, you're talking $35,000 the farmer is giving up in productive farmland to put into buffers. And there needs to be some compensation for that, especially as you mentioned, Paul, that when things are very tight right now in the ag economy.
Yeah.
And I think that's a conversation that's not told enough about buffers, because we all want clean water, but that's a very costly proposition to a farmer when you take, and just think of the, that acreage is small compared to what most farmers have. So now you talk about a couple miles of 50-foot buffers, it can be very, very costly.
And is there a differentiation discussion between, like I have some sod farms in Anoka County, and, sod is a buffer. I mean, grass is a buffer. It's a natural buffer, right? Is there a conversation in there about the differentiation between like a feedlot where you got, some tillable land that's sitting there versus what is actually some green land that's there? Is that conversation also in there too? Or are they doing a one-size-fits-all, Paul? What do you see?
No, that's a good point, Senator. And one of the practices I think they will allow would be alfalfa. That's a great crop. It has a strong root system. It keeps that soil in place. And you can run alfalfa on a piece of ground for 4 to 5 years before the gophers get too bad in it. But continuous, the farm boys.
Or the rock picker.
This is the real problem, though. It's the real problem.
We should trap those gophers here.
My dad went to the University of Minnesota gopher hunting. So anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
So, yeah, continuous cropping, don't work the land up, put it into a cover crop and keep it that way. And that would be an excellent way to meet the buffer requirement. And then you'd probably have a wider strip so you could get in there with your equipment and cut it and rake it and bale it and get some productive value out of it, if we could do it that way.
So more discussions as we head down the road here, and I think you indicated there are multiple bills that are in your committee or that are being heard, and hard to say which one's going to take place between now and what's going to take place between now
and at the end of the day, like I've said before, it has to make sense, and it has to be something the governor will sign, because we can work all we want, and if the governor won't sign it, it doesn't get you very far. So we all have to work and pull the sled in the same direction.
Yeah, the bill to do away with the buffer bill is going to go nowhere. We have to work with the governor and hopefully have him agree to it.
Yeah.